ATK in this thing, TKG type of fucking. ATK in this thing, TKG. What is good with y'all, man? Listen, y'all see the title, y'all know exactly what we're getting into, man. It's the first official video of the rebrand of All the Culture, man. TKG, I'm glad to have y'all back. But to get back into the swing of things, man, we are talking about Nicki Minaj, someone who is no stranger to this channel. She landed herself into some hot water recently with some lyrics directed towards Megan Thee Stallion, making light of the whole shooting that she had went through when Tory Lanez had shot her in the foot. This prompted a lot of people to basically call Nicki Minaj a 40-year-old bully, something that we've heard many times before, if you're on Twitter at least, because she trends there very easily. Something we've heard many times before, and we'll probably not stop hearing despite this video. Of course, while doing some digging on Twitter, I ran into this account that goes by the name of Idle Infusion, and she had basically brought up all of the beefs that Nicki Minaj has been in, saying that, oh, Nicki Minaj is the problem, you know, how can she not be the problem? These are all the beefs she's been in. And while, yes, the 60 plus beefs is quite a number of enemies, a lot of them I felt could have been misunderstood. So that prompted me to basically do hours and hours worth of research and to find out if Nicki Minaj really is a victim or a bully. Of course, when doing all this, I told myself to tally the numbers and to find the exact reasons, and I will be telling you all of that here today. So, of course, with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it, man. Let's clear Nicki Minaj's name, potentially. We are going to start out with the no beef / minor category, where basically it's either there was no interaction between Nicki Minaj and the said aggressor, or it was so little that it wasn't really even considered a beef, but I guess you could call it a beef. I apologize for any, errors or any grammatical, issues I have while speaking all this. This is all rapid fire, one take, and I'm not reading off of a script. I'm just remembering all of this from my head. While I do have the people written down, I remember each altercation. So, without further ado, we're going to start out with Iggy Azalea. There was no beef there. It was one-sided, essentially. It didn't last that long. It was after the BET Awards when Nicki Minaj won Best Female Rapper. And I guess Nicki had something to say. It was towards Iggy, but not really. So Iggy didn't really say anything. She said she chose not to engage and all that stuff. So yeah, minor. Queen Latifah is next. No, they never interacted. Some of these are going to be very fast because a lot of these are just bullshit, okay? Queen Latifah, there's no beef. They never interacted. Little Mix, minor. It was a call out, but there was no interaction from Little Mix to Nicki Minaj. So you could call this bullying, I guess, on Nicki Minaj's part, but not really, since she was really coming to the aid of a friend. Next is Migos, no beef. They never interacted. Next is TikTok, is minor. It's a short-term call out because Nicki Minaj felt that there was some hypocrisy on TikTok, which there kind of is, honestly. So I give her points for this one. Next is Missy Elliott, no beef. For some of these, I have barbs in hyphens as well, because the barbs had a problem with some of these people, not Nicki Minaj. So it was perceived as Nicki Minaj having a problem. Really, it was her nutty ass fan base. But the barbs were the only ones to interact. Nicki didn't say anything towards Missy Elliott. Yeah, it's a shame, really. Laura Saltman is next. No beef, no interaction. Next is Kanye West, no beef. It was a friendly quarrel between the two. Basically, Kanye wanted a song called New Body. He wanted it cleared by Nicki, and Nicki said, no, I'm working on my album right now, and all that stuff. And they never really interacted since. Yeah, I don't really call this a beef. She addressed it really politely and Kanye responded politely. So that's all that really was. Next is Lisa Ray McCoy, minor. Barbs. The Barbs made it worse, but it was a minor call out on Nicki Minaj's end. But the Barbs are really the ones that were beefing with Lisa. Again, the Barbs suck. Next is Taylor Swift. No beef. It was a minor misunderstanding on Taylor's end. Taylor thought that Nicki Minaj was slighting her when that wasn't the case. Taylor was the one that really, drew this out. So if it remained as, without a resolution, this would have been in the victim category. Next is Tracy Chapman. This is minor. Tracy Chapman sued Nicki Minaj for a uncleared sample. It was resolved. They didn't really have any interaction. Next is Kim Kardashian. No beef, no interaction. T.I. is next. No beef, no interaction. Next, Katy Perry. No beef, no interaction. Next, Stormy Webster. No beef. It's a fucking baby. Why was this even written down? Again, a lot of these that were written down was really to make Nicki Minaj look worse. And it's disgusting, okay? Next is Instagram. No beef, no interaction. Although there were some people or some links that I looked up that said that Nicki Minaj had a problem with some of her comments being blocked, which, I mean, that's fine, but I wouldn't really call that a beef. Honestly, that would elicit a call out from anybody, essentially. Next is Walmart and Target. These are both minor. They're short-term call-outs because Nicki Minaj felt that her albums weren't getting sold there. She had found out that her albums weren't getting sold there. They weren't, it was affecting her album sales, which, she has all rights to call that out, She is in it for the money at the end of the day. So that matters. Target and Walmart are really big corporations that could really do some, they're, Nicki's fans shop there. So yeah, that's kind of a dick move on their part. Next, her record label. No beef, no interaction. Next, COVID vaccine. I wouldn't really call this a beef, but whatever. But it's minor. She called out the effectiveness of the vaccine because of her cousin who took the vaccine and his balls swole up. That's really it. Which had a lot of right-wingers on her side because, the Republicans apparently don't like the vaccine, I suppose. I don't know. I stay out of politics, all right? Next is Coi Leray. No beef / unclear. It could be a misunderstanding because Coi Leray had said something on Twitter, which a little after that, Nicki Minaj had said a bunch of stuff on Instagram and referring to someone named Dudley and saying that this person was a dud and was producing nothing but flops. It could be a misunderstanding because, again, there was no name attached to it, but the timing was very coincidental because it was right after Coi Leray had made her comment. Next is Doja Cat. No beef. Barbs. The Barbs are the only ones that are angry at her, but Nicki Minaj at the time of recording has not said anything to Doja Cat. The Barbs are the ones that go into her comment section saying crazy stuff, and of course Doja Cat, being as unhinged as she is, said that the Barbs were trash, which they are. Y'all need help. Next, PNB Rock girlfriend. No beef, no interaction. Although Nicki Minaj was caught under fire for saying, for basically blaming PNB Rock's girlfriend for, leaking the location of PNB Rock, which ultimately led to his demise. There was, an investigation behind it where, he was being washed anyway, so a lot of people had to wind up apologizing, me included. Next is Lady Gaga. No beef, but I get there's no beef between the two. Nicki Minaj was only really tired of the comparisons to Lady Gaga. There's no animosity between the two, though. They didn't have any interactions. Next is Mona Scott Young. No beef, no interaction. Next is Jay-Z. No beef, no interaction. Republic Records. No beef, no interaction. Glorilla. No beef, no interaction. Young Miami. Minor. No beef. No beef. I'll change it to no beef. It was just a call out, essentially. It was a friendly quarrel. Basically, Young Miami used a term that a lot of people coined Nicki Minaj for starting, saying child. And then Young Miami had said something along the lines of, "Oh, it's gay slang, first things first," and then Nicki Minaj said, "No, the fuck it ain't," and they were just laughing about it. So that's all that really was. Next is Ken Barbie, minor. It was a call out. More on the victim side, honestly, because this Ken Barbie figure basically went in on Nicki Minaj after Nicki Minaj responded to some crazy shit that he had said. So yeah, you could put this in the victim category because this guy really went in on Nicki Minaj and Nicki didn't really even respond after all that. Next is Trina, no beef, Barbs. The Barbs attacked her for saying that Beyonce was the best rapper. Yes, I just said that. Trina said that when Beyonce raps, she is the best female rapper, which the Barbs didn't like because, of course, they think that Nicki Minaj is the best female rapper. But otherwise, no interaction between Nicki Minaj and Trina. Next is Cash Doll, minor, Barbs. Cash Doll has said that Nicki Minaj was talking to her sideways in her DMs that prompted Cash Doll to block Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj didn't say anything. There was no back and forth between the two. She really just said this and it was left alone. Although the Barbs basically said, "You're not worthy of her time. Oh, maybe you did something wrong. Da 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 da." Stupid. Next is YouTube. No beef, no interaction. Although, if I did a little bit more research on this, I'm pretty sure I'd find that Nicki Minaj would have some problem with YouTube, seeing as she does have a lot of problems with corporations not putting her on as much. Next is Wendy Williams. Is minor. Wendy Williams called out Nicki Minaj's choice in marrying a rapist, a child rapist at that, because she felt that it hurt her brand. She said that it would set a bad precedent for brands going forward. But ultimately, they wound up forgiving each other, which is why I called it, minor. Next is Trey Songz. There's no beef. But during the Remy Ma beef, which we are going to cover soon, Remy Ma said something along the lines of Trey Songz and Nicki Minaj had sex, which Trey Songz basically, came out and said, no, none of this happened. So he was covering her ass. So there's no beef, none at all. Eve, no beef, no interaction. Candace Owens, no beef, no interaction. And Candace Owens is actually a fan of Nicki Minaj, maybe because of the whole COVID vaccine comment. But Candace Owens had she had a beef with Cardi, and literally, vividly, clearly during her beef with Cardi, she has said something along the lines of, "Shut up, Nicki Minaj is about to drop," silence. So yeah, and she's made a few other comments in favor of Nicki Minaj in the past. So there's that. Saucy Santana, no beef, no interaction. And finally, Summer Walker with no beef, no interaction. Which, in totality, we have 28 no beefs and 11 minors. So that's a lot, okay? And the 60 plus beefs that she's supposedly been in, over half of them are not even really beefs, or they're not to be taken as seriously. So that should clear up a lot of confusion for a lot of people. I know the Iggy Azalea one in particular was probably something that people really felt was real, but it really, really wasn't, okay? So, with that being said, let's move on to the next category, which is going to be victim. So, starting off our victim category, which for victim, basically these are people that started with Nicki Minaj and really came off more as the bullies in the beef with Nicki Minaj, which, again, a lot of people seem to think is not possible. So, we're going to start this off with Celebrity Blinds. It's a blog page. They called out Nicki Minaj constantly on the blog, which prompted a response from Nicki Minaj. Basically, this blog page was, they find news about Nicki and they basically just air it out and stuff. Which Nicki Minaj had a problem with, so she responded. Which, I mean, duh. If Nicki Minaj found my channel and seen it, I made a bunch of slander videos on her. Of course, she's gonna go like, "Oh, I've never done anything to you." But then again, maybe this one shouldn't go under the victim category because it's journalism. In journalism, you're going to have to talk about something. You're going to have to find something newsworthy to speak on. Hell, Blackie Speaks literally yesterday just talked about the Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion thing. So yeah, does Nicki owe Blackie Speaks some clips? I don't know. Next, we have Demi Lovato. This is minor. Demi Lovato called Nicki Minaj out of nowhere, or she called her out of nowhere for being a complete bitch to everyone at this event that they all were supposedly at, or the two. With a short-term response from Nicki Minaj basically saying, damn, you might as well put a name on it. They didn't really engage too much after that, but it's said that Demi Lovato has, gave a few subliminals in the future, but Nicki Minaj hasn't really, sent anything to her, so this technically could have went under the, minor category, but this is as close as, victimhood as it gets for Nicki Minaj, because technically she didn't start this one. Next is Safari Samuels. This is one of the more major ones. Safari and Nicki Minaj were together for, if I'm not mistaken, I think a decade, many years. Very early in Nicki Minaj's career, Safari Samuels was there for. It's even alleged that he is her ghostwriter, or was her ghostwriter. After they broke up, Safari was all over the internet. Basically, you could really call it harassing her online. With little to no prompting, he would talk about Nicki and he would air out their dirty laundry and stuff like that, and Nicki wouldn't really say anything in response, for the most part. A lawsuit eventually came from this. I didn't do enough research for what for. Maybe it's because of defamation or whatever. Safari's really just that type of guy, honestly. And of course, in some interviews, he had said some stuff that really should have kept behind closed doors, like the fact that Nicki Minaj has paid for her entire body, which, no one really needed anyone to say anything about that. It was kind of obvious. But yeah, there was little to no responses from Nicki on this one. There was some speaking on it, but she tried to keep it positive for the most part. She didn't really want to speak too ill on his name, but Safari did not give a shit. He even talked about wanting to commit suicide because of her and all that stuff. So yeah, real gaslighting work here. Next is Azealia Banks. I don't even think I have to talk about this one. It's Azealia Banks. It was constant disses for no apparent reason, and to my knowledge, Nicki Minaj has not responded, which, it'd be like talking to a brick wall, because, Azealia Banks doesn't change her mind for shit unless it's on something that she said. It's not ever going to be because of something that you said to her, Yeah. Anyone would be a victim of Azealia Banks. Next is Lil' Kim, one of the more famous ones. This one, and it's surprising that I have her under the victim category, but after doing some research, I was once upon a time someone that believed that Nicki Minaj was the bully here. But that's why this video is so important, because she wasn't. She was not the bully at all. This started because of a misunderstanding over a cover shoot. Nicki Minaj was on the cover of some magazine, and she had a similar pose that Lil' Kim had pulled off. Nicki Minaj has stated many times before that, Lil' Kim was a major inspiration for her to get into music. But Lil' Kim didn't care about none of that. It turned into clear jealousy. And then Lil' Kim wound up dissing Nicki Minaj during her album release week for Pink Friday. She wound up dropping Black Friday, which prompted a response from Nicki Minaj, obviously. They wound up going back and forth, but to this day, Lil' Kim still has malice for Nicki Minaj, to the point where if anybody is even in a minor inconvenience with Nicki Minaj, Lil' Kim is going to come out the woodworks and have, the aggressor side over Nicki. She's still really, she's really salty over this. Which, to be fair, there's so many rappers in the game right now that take inspiration from someone else. You can't do that. It's really, really, really stupid to do that type of stuff, if everybody got mad at the people that took inspiration, then no one would get along because everyone started because of someone else. You know, they all took inspiration from someone. So this is just, yeah, this is one of my least favorite ones to speak on. Next and last is Remy Ma. And it's crazy, right? Remy Ma bullying Nicki Minaj. Yeah, this wasn't no one-sided thing, to be fair, but goddamn, it almost was. Basically, this all started back in the early 2000s where Remy Ma said something about being the queen of rap. Nicki Minaj, you know, in her early days, eventually said something about being the queen of rap. And of course, Remy Ma saw it and said, hey, you know, she's supposed to say that. She's supposed to say she's the queen of rap, you know. It's supposedly Nicki Minaj had, you know, said something that may have triggered a beef, but Remy Ma didn't see it as that at the time. So basically, Remy Ma wound up dropping multiple tracks, you know, dropping subliminals or saying, you know, yeah, dropping subliminals towards Nicki Minaj, which Nicki didn't really, you know, say anything towards it. Of course, upon her release from prison, Remy Ma will pick right up where she left off, and she wouldn't, and, you know, they mentioned the whole Nicki Minaj thing to her, which, you know, Remy Ma wound up saying something first, and that prompted Nicki Minaj to respond, and then Remy Ma responded, and then Nicki Minaj kept quiet, and then Remy Ma dropped another diss, even when Nicki Minaj didn't say shit. And then in a bunch of interviews, Remy Ma wound up basically, you know, talking about it, which Nicki Minaj didn't really have much to say about it after she didn't respond to the Sheether. So it's dirty, it's ugly. But I feel Remy Ma has more hate for Nicki Minaj than Nicki Minaj has for Remy Ma, even though in more recent times, Remy Ma has been referenced to, you know, the detriment of Nicki Minaj because, really and truthfully, as far as beefs go, this was the one that Nicki Minaj clear-cut lost through any of these beefs. The one where she definitively lost, it would be Remy Ma. And that's really, truly why she's in the victim category, because this shit was a complete annihilation. Not to say that Nicki Minaj was a bad rapper or anything, but Remy Ma, yeah, she proved that if it comes to the pen-to-pen game, that Remy Ma is better. Yeah, 6 people for the victim category, which is crazy, right? We just talked about, you know, 28 people for the no beef category and 11 people for the minor category, and here we are, 6 people for the victim category, which means only 6 people out of the 60 plus people have actually started a beef with Nicki Minaj. You know what that means. Last but not least is the bully category, which a lot of people might have been looking forward to. So let's go and get into that one. And the part that a lot of people were waiting for, the bully category, where clearly Nicki Minaj started it, she escalated it, and she basically was more of the heel in this beef. We're going to start off with Erica Banks, but this one was more minor because seemingly Nicki Minaj had more of a problem with Erica Banks, her label. But it wound up kind of, affecting Erica Banks and Nicki Minaj's relationship because they were supposed to do a song together, but because of the negligence of the label, Nicki wound up blocking Erica Banks, which Erica Banks had a big problem with. Erica Banks wound up saying that Nicki Minaj did a lot of songs with a lot of trash female rappers, saying that I feel like she does a lot of songs with women that can't rap, and that hurts. They haven't had interaction since, but they never had interaction because of course she's blocked. But yeah, no, this could have got crazy. I feel like this would have been one of the more underrated beefs in recent memory, especially when it comes to Nicki Minaj, because Erica Banks can rap, little do y'all know. DJ Khaled is next. So basically, Nicki Minaj threatened DJ Khaled in his DMs, and even harassed him a lot. It all happened in the DMs, okay? Or she basically was asking where Academics was, and he had confirmed that he was where he was, and she said, "Oh, don't keep saying what you're saying about me. You're gonna wind up getting your jaw broke." Again, this is another journalist. It's another journalist doing his job. But to be fair, Academics is a fat little piece of shit. So it'd be easy to look at this beef and say, he kind of deserves it. But at the end of the day, this is how he makes his money. He's supposed to speak on people. Does he go too far sometimes? Of course. But yeah, knowing who Academics is, you kind of have to know you can't really take what he says too seriously. He has to say these things for people to know, it's Academics. Well, you can't let it all get a rise out of you unless you can't take criticism, which a lot of people, say Nicki Minaj is a victim of being sensitive. But yeah, this almost turned deadly. This wound up turning into DJ Academics fearing for his life, which, wow. But yeah, this wound up turning into him fearing for his life, and he aired that out, and that's where a lot of people wound up. I can't believe that people were more on Academic side in this whole ordeal, but they were. They called him a bitch because they said, "Oh, you pick fights with women, and now a woman is intimidating you." Yeah, that's crazy though. Next is Farrah Abraham. Random, but next is Farrah Abraham. It's minor. Basically, Nicki Minaj called Farrah Abraham out online for being a bitch to her mother, which Farrah Abraham had responded and said, "Oh, this is from you, the good parent," shit of that nature. And Nicki Minaj responded a few times before Farrah Abraham basically said her last piece and never responded again to her. It's minor, but again, Nicki Minaj did start it, so that's why it's here. Not too big of a storyline to follow here. They haven't really had, they haven't had any interaction since this one, so yeah, minor. Next is BET and the Grammy Awards. Really, any award show. Called out for moving the goalposts. Nicki Minaj feels like every time she gets nominated or should be nominated, she doesn't get nominated with people that she thinks she's better than because they fit the criteria a little better, because they have skinny bodies, or it's this young versus old thing, or whatever the case may be. She's had a lot of reasons in the past. These specific, the BET and Grammy beefs in particular is branched out into other beefs, specifically the one with Taylor Swift and Iggy Azalea, and another one that you're about to hear in a second. Next is DJ Envy. This one is pretty relevant in Barb's eyes because they bring it up quite often. Not DJ Envy in particular, but the blacklisting. Nicki Minaj felt like she was blacklisted from the radio, but the reason behind that was because Nicki Minaj had supposedly sent out some people to beat up DJ Envy's friend, another DJ, who I forgot his name, out of nowhere. But basically DJ Envy said that they stopped playing her music in favor of the DJ, saying that, we stand up for other DJs around here. We're not gonna, I'm not gonna hear about you wanting to beat up my friend or sending people to beat up my friend, and I'm gonna keep supporting your career. So Nicki Minaj had a big problem with that, had a problem with the Breakfast Club, and basically said that she was blacklisted. And the Barb still to this day says, Nicki's blacklisted, which, yeah, blacklisted artists get #1 hits. Yeah, that's weird. They get played on the radio and get their songs played in soundtracks for movies. Barbie, to be specific. That's not blacklisted at all. If that's blacklisted, then we are all shadow banned. That's crazy. that's ridiculous. Next is Normani. This one's minor. Basically, and it's just as simple as this. Normani is a huge fan of Nicki Minaj. Still a huge fan of Nicki Minaj. But they wound up unfollowing each other because Normani's association with Cardi B. That's really it. Nicki Minaj didn't like that she made a song with Cardi B. They wound up making The Wild Side together. That's all. That's really it. It's as petty as you think it is. It's as simple as that. She unfollowed her because she made a song with her enemy. That's it. Next, Billboard called out for her seating on the Billboard multiple times. You're gonna hear it a few times later, so I'll save this one. Kylie Jenner called out for her support of her husband. That's it. Mariah Carey called out during her time as a judge. Nicki Minaj felt like that Mariah Carey was being a glory hound because she wanted to be the only judge on a show that they were hosting or judging on. I don't think it was America's Got Talent. I forget the name of the show, but they were both judges on a show. I think it was The Voice, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But Mariah Carey supposedly wanted to have her own spotlight. She didn't want another female judge on because she felt like it would take the shine from her. Mariah Carey never came out and said anything. Nicki Minaj was really more the one that got into the physical altercations, the shouting matches, and the online verbal sparrings with her. That's why I really call it more so bullying, because it really could have got handled behind closed doors. But of course, Nicki Minaj being Nicki Minaj, she's got to let her fans know about the whole ordeal and get them in on it, so the more damage can be dealt. Next is Travis Scott. He basically was, I guess you could call it, being harassed online. This was when Nicki Minaj was doing Queen Radio, really pushing that a lot. She was talking about the fact that Travis Scott had debuted with Astroworld at #1. Even though she said her album sold better, her album should have been #1. But because Travis had included bundles and all that stuff in the sales, that's why she was #2. Now, this is someone arguing about having the #2 album in the world, not #2 rap album, even though it technically was. But overall, in the world, #2, she sold good. She sold like 400-something thousand first week. And she was complaining that she wasn't #1 on the Billboard. This woman is petty. She wanted to be #1. It was an arbitrary fucking number that shouldn't mean shit to her, given that she was already a legend at this point. But she wanted that #1. Travis hadn't had many #1s, or maybe he did, but this was just the one that she really, really needed. But then again, given the past, Nicki Minaj has never had a #1 album ever in her life. Maybe Pink Friday 2 did, but to my knowledge, Nicki Minaj has never had a #1 album, and that might be what is eating her alive. She's had a #1 solo, she's had a #1 song with a feature, but she's never had a #1 album. And that might have been what tipped the scales for her. Next is Miley Cyrus. This is minor. She called out Miley at an award show. You all remember the Miley was good statement from her, which Miley didn't really have too much of an issue with Nicki Minaj. She really praised her tons. She was a huge fan. Before this even, I know y'all have seen the iconic Nicki Minaj Anaconda picture with her and her ass out and looking, back at the camera. Well, Miley Cyrus kind of edited her face onto Nicki Minaj, made the body white, and they laughed about it. And it's something that Miley said triggered Nicki Minaj to go on this aggressive tirade on stage. But, that Miley Cyrus never returned any animosity. She kept the love. Which, I don't know if Nicki Minaj has apologized, but Miley Cyrus has no hate for Nicki Minaj. Next is Meek Mill. They were together for 2 years. They wound up breaking up, and that's where it all went sour. Nicki Minaj said a lot about Meek Mill online, to the point where you could basically say he was being harassed online. Meek Mill kept it peaceful for the most part, speaking about it, and said that he didn't really like talking about it because, why did he want to talk about it? He was focused on his career at the time. Nicki Minaj had brought up the fact that Drake and Meek Mill were friends and saying, oh, keep sucking Drake's dick, that's not going to make up for shit and all that stuff. And this even wound up stemming into an altercation between Meek, Nicki, and Nicki's husband, who seems to be involved in a lot of Nicki's beefs. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Okay, it's wild. They wound up getting into a physical altercation at a mall, and then Nicki went online and said, "You gotta move on. Stop looking for me. Stop talking about me. Blah blah blah." She even brought up Meek Mill in a song where she had said, I don't know the lines verbatim, but I'm gonna try my best to remember. I think she said something along the lines of Meek still be in my DMs, begging to talk to me. Used to have, I think the bar was, I used to pray for times like this, face ass when I fuck him, or something like that. I think that's exactly what she said. And then Meek said something like, "Oh, I never said that shit, but that's funny. That's a good bar." So Meek was keeping it kind of positive, not really in the fight with the husband thing, but he could have went harder. He could have dissed her. He could have did a lot in that situation, but it's pretty peaceful for a quote unquote gangster rapper. Next is Lotto. This was one of the more pathetic ones, if I'm being honest with you. Basically, Nicki is just jealous of Lotto being or getting a Grammy nomination. It turned into a public call out. It started subliminal, and then it got a little more personal, and we started to figure out who she was really speaking on and stuff like that. And she even said something along the lines of, "How was this not?" She had a problem with one song going to pop, but Lotto could stay in the rap category. How was Big Energy rap? Why does Big Energy get to stay? Which, again, the song is interpolated from come on now. Lotto's a rapper. Why the hell wouldn't it be in the rap category? So I don't know. Maybe because the interpolation is not from a rap artist, the beat, but the person on the track is a rapper, and she's rapping. So I don't get that. I don't understand that. I guess if you put a rapper on a rock song, you can't call it a rap song if it's heavy rock on it, but this was clear-cut rapping. I feel like sometimes the rule needs to be skewed in a different direction. It was rapping. She was rapping. Like, for the longest, it was being called a rap song. It was on the rap billboard. Yeah. And no one had a problem with it up until it got nominated for a Grammy. I don't remember if it won, but Nicki Minaj had a big problem with that. That turned into Lotto basically saying, "Oh, you just come off so jealous. You need to stop paying attention to other people and what they got going on and all this stuff." And it turned into a back and forth between the two, and the Barbs got involved, of course, saying that Lotto has a flop career and she hasn't amounted to anything, which that's a lie. Lotto technically had the first #1 as a rapper last year. Although she was a feature and it wasn't a rap song, she was the first rapper with a #1 song. So, so much for not a success, but whatever. The Barbs are mentally challenged. Maybe I shouldn't have said that on YouTube, given how pussified it's become, but whatever. That's how I feel. Next is Tyga. This is minor, and really it could have went to the minor category, but I put it here only because of how funny it was. Basically, it just came out of nowhere. Nicki Minaj has said, "Tyga's using me. I paid for that hairline." When I read this, I said, "There's no fucking way. How are you beefing with a fellow Young Money member?" But yeah, she said she paid for the man's hairline. Tyga didn't really say much in response. I guess Nicki even kind of got at Kylie to get at Tyga, to make Tyga mad, but yeah, they do not get along. Or maybe they didn't get along at the time. Maybe they forgave each other. Who knows? A lot of Young Money doesn't like Tyga for some reason. But next is Megan Thee Stallion. Obviously the whole purpose of this video. But yes, I've deemed this as bullying. It's been subliminals towards Megan Thee Stallion first, because of the association with Cardi B, of course. The barbs really made this one worse, so I really should have put barbs next to it, but the barbs really made it worse with all the back and forth, saying that, oh, how can you make a song with Cardi, oh, da-da-da, and all this stuff, saying that, oh, a lot of times Megan Thee Stallion was saying that Nicki Minaj was, inspiration of hers. She liked Nicki Minaj. And that didn't really matter because, of course, it starts out peaceful with Nicki, but it ends up looking really, really fucking bad. So, yeah, this turned into subliminals, which eventually turned into shots in a song. Of course, before this recent altercation between the two, there was subliminals on, Nicki's end in a few songs. And Megan, to my knowledge, hasn't really said anything or subliminals, but she had a song where she basically said something along the lines of these bitches not afraid of they shouldn't be afraid of Megan, or some like Megan's Law. She said Megan's Law. I'm sorry, I'm shit with lyrics. I'm bad with memory when it comes to music, so don't mind that. But she said something along the lines of Megan's Law. Now, if you know what Megan's Law is, it basically is talking about, it's kind of a slight towards Nicki's husband, who again is a child rapist. So, or a child sexual predator. I guess I should have to be a little more politically correct. It talks about that, so that's why everyone was like, "Oh, this is definitely talking about Nicki's husband." So Nicki Minaj, of course, responded with talking about her getting shot in the foot, and this is gonna turn into a whole full-blown thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, Megan is going to win this one. Nicki's good, don't get me wrong, but she hasn't won a beef since Remy Ma. I just want to make that known. She hasn't won a beef, especially when it comes to the next and last person, and the most notable beef that she's been a part of, other than Lil Kim, Cardi B. Where do we start with this one? Okay, Bodak Yellow drops. Nicki Minaj is a fan. She likes it. She says, "Oh, this is cool." She's even seen on camera dancing to Bodak Yellow. And they seem pretty peaceful for the most part. And then there's subliminals from Nicki for no reason, and that turns into not Megan, but Cardi being confused. And of course, there's more subliminals coming from Nicki. And then it turns into internet call-outs. And then they get on Motorsport together and they diss each other. Basically, they diss each other on the song that they shared, where Cardi B had allegedly said that she changed her verse to Motorsport. Nicki changed her verse to Motorsport like 4 times and put in one last second to basically diss Cardi. It turned into more than what it was, and they're still fighting to this day. Cardi has even referenced some of the women that Nicki's had beefs with in the past, at one point changing her Twitter picture to, I believe, Remy Ma. And it was funny because, of course, this was all because Barb's kept on saying that Cardi can't write a rap. What was ironic about that is, again, we talked about him already, Safari was Nicki's supposed ghostwriter. So, I don't know. But Nicki says that, oh no, he didn't write shit for me. He didn't do nothing for me. Safari stands 10 toes down on that, saying that, oh, she didn't sit there and do nothing, but I did write music for her. So, yeah. I'm gonna make a video about that whole ghostwriting, writing rap shit in the future, because it's so stupid. Someone's gotta write the shit, and if it's not the person that's on the song, they're the one that's singing the shit or rapping the shit. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know. But this is Nicki's longest standing beef. They've been beefing since 2018, where they've even fought at an event. Cardi B wound up having a lump on her eye, and Nicki Minaj seemingly was unscathed through the whole thing, and they still been beefing to this day. Where Cardi's fan base, the Barty Gang, goes at Barb's faithfully on Twitter. They go at each other all the time, to the point where if the Barb say something, you'll find someone from Barty Gang in the comments saying something. And if the Barty Gang said something, then the Barbs are 1000% in the comments. They basically hunt for each other on Twitter or Instagram even. I'm not too certain of it on Instagram, but it's very evident on Twitter. They look for each other and they try to demean each other. And basically, I feel like Cardi and Nicki's beef is as strong as it is because of the warring fan bases. Essentially, Barbs go after Cardi, and Cardi responds to the Barbs. She doesn't have a filter. So she responds to the Barbs, she talks shit to the Barbs, which Nicki Minaj cares about her fan base. So that prompts them, Nicki and Cardi to get into another, they get into more and more heat. They find reasons to not fuck with each other. I think at some point, Nicki Minaj was about to drop her album, and all of a sudden she had some heat towards Cardi for no reason. And Cardi was even confused by this, saying, dude, just drop your album. Like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, why are you talking about me? I'm not doing shit over here. I'm just, like, living my life. Eventually, it wound up turning into a war between Offset and Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty. And, I guess they were going to beat each other's ass, which I guess they're not anymore because Offset and Cardi are no longer together. And Kenneth is not a real gangster. So that's how that went. They're still beefing. I think the only one of Nicki's beefs, other than the Megan Thee Stallion one that is existing today. Oh, and the Lil Kim one. Yeah, that's all. That's really it. That's all we've got out of that. I guess the Lotto one still exists, but other than that, everything else is kind of non-existent. It's all just, it's run its course. You tally it up, and she's basically bullied 16 people. If you want to say that she didn't bully, Tyga and I forget who the other one was, BET and the Grammys, then fine. You can drop that down to 13. But we've got 6 victims, 16 people she's bullied, 28 no beefs, and 11 minor beefs. And that's I don't know. She can dish it, okay? She could take it too, but she could dish it for sure. But Nicki Minaj is not innocent. Again, 6 people have started with her, 16 or 13 if you want to be technical, and to some Barbs, like 2 or 3 people she's bullied. So, is Nicki Minaj a victim or a bully? For the most part, she's a bully, but not all the way. So hopefully that clears up some confusion for a lot of the fans out there, or her haters, or people that seem to think that she's just this evil ass person. She's been in 60 plus supposed beefs, and a lot of them weren't actual beefs. Just made up shit from this idol infusion person, which, come on now, you gotta grow up. That can make someone look really, really bad. Yes, Nicki Minaj has a crazy ass mouth, but again, a lot of times she ain't the person that y'all need to be worried about. Unless more stuff comes out about this Megan thing, she's the one that's bullying Megan. Hell, people are now saying there's no line. You can't cross a line in rap. You can say whatever you want. Well, when you start bringing up getting shot and dead parents and all that stuff, that looks away. That does look away. Whether you figure, she could say that because it's rap, it's still bullying at the end of the fucking day. It makes her look worse because she's bringing up something super sensitive and into a rap beef. Fine. You want to say, they're thugs, whatever. Nicki's still the bully in this situation, So, well, in any case, y'all tell me y'all verdict. Y'all tell me if y'all feel like some of these are bullshit or if I'm valid here. I'm certain no Barb's gonna find me again. This is my, return video, so I shouldn't have this video be my most viewed video because the Barbs felt like, I'm gonna hate watch today. But whatever the case may be, do what it do. I am ATK, and I'm glad to be back. TKG vibe. Have a good time, and I will see y'all later, man. Peace out.
Bad shit, dirty old twat. 69 assholes tied in a knot. Hooray!